They say the city never sleeps. But once upon a time, it did. Imagine Manhattan at sunset, not the Manhattan of gleaming skyscrapers and endless neon lights, but an older, quieter, and more dangerous version. A city that takes a deep breath as the sun dips below the horizon. A place where shop owners close their windows not by choice, but out of necessity. A world where the streets, lit by gas lamps, swallow people whole. A world where darkness isn't romantic, it's simply there, as it always has been. Now imagine that this situation had never changed. In the mid-19th century, the world was intoxicated by its own growth. Steam engines had forced open the gates of the industrial age. Factory chimneys stretching from Birmingham to Baltimore blanketed the sky with smoke. Iron bridges were being built over rivers that once seemed insurmountable. Trains were reducing journeys that once took weeks to just a few days. Humanity had managed to wrest something from nature, a crude, mechanical dominion, and was proudly claiming this victory. But the nights remained beyond control. When the heat of the furnaces and forges died down, the world returned to its cold and dark state. In the bourgeois streets, gas lamps flickered and hummed. Elsewhere, candles flickered in the windows. And under that flickering light, a generation of scientists was in pursuit of something they could not fully explain. An invisible, inexplicable force that glowed noisily among the clouds, made the compass needle tremble, and held within it the potential to change everything. Electricity was not yet a technology. It was a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Benjamin Franklin had harnessed that power from a storm using nothing more than a key and a kite. Alessandro Volta had managed to trap it within a stack of copper and zinc wires. Michael Faraday, meanwhile, had discovered that this mysterious force could be generated from motion, using a wire, a magnet, and something that could almost be called magic. Every 10 years, this mysterious thing began to make sense. And by the 1870s, two scientists were on the verge of transforming this concept into a civilization. Thomas Edison was working in his laboratory in New Jersey. Surrounded by engineers, his mind was entirely focused on practical achievements. He was not after praise, but after utility. He immediately grasped what it meant when he placed a carbonized filament inside a glass bulb, passed a current through it, and the filament glowed without burning out. Not for science. For cities, commerce, and the world. At that time, Nikola Tesla, a young engineer, had crossed the Atlantic with almost no money in his pocket. But his mind was brimming with ideas that Edison had not yet seen. Tesla believed in alternating current, a type of electricity that could change direction multiple times in a matter of seconds, be converted to high voltages, and be transmitted not just within a neighborhood, but across continents. These two scientists would become rivals in one of history's most significant debates. However, for that debate to have any meaning, the first step had to succeed. That first step was Pearl Street. In September 1882, Edison's Pearl Street station in Lower Manhattan began operations as the first large-scale electric power distribution system in history. Copper cables laid underground carried electricity to the lamps in nearby buildings. When those lights shone, the course of human history was permanently altered. Within a decade, cities across the industrializing world had managed to connect themselves to the future. Tesla's theory of alternating current proved technically superior, enabling electricity to travel over long distances. By the early 19th century, a world that had once been plunged into darkness every evening had begun to glow with uninterrupted light. This is history as we know it. But what if this legacy had been rejected? Imagine that same September evening, but this time, things are going wrong at Pearl Street Station. It's not just a minor malfunction. It's a disaster. Generators overloaded with high current. Copper cables overheating. Burning insulation. A fire that spreads rapidly. Within an hour, part of Manhattan is engulfed in flames. Firefighters are battling smoke and flames. At dawn, the devastation becomes clear. The technical failure is bad enough. But the story behind it is far worse. The newspapers are overflowing with phrases like unnatural, hubris, and tinkering with forces beyond human understanding. Investors are pulling out one by one. Politicians are starting to talk about new bans. Edison can't recover. Funds are drying up. Patents are forgotten. As for Tesla, he never gets a chance. And quietly, he is buried in the dusty pages of history. The 20th century is approaching, but it's darker. Factories operate only during the day. Cities are growing in a different way. Nights are still lit by gas lamps and candles. The telegraph remains the fastest means of communication. This is sufficient for trade. But it is not sufficient for war. And war is coming again. World War I takes place without radio communication. Orders are relayed by messengers. The result? A longer, more destructive war. Even if World War II had unfolded as we know it, it wouldn't have ended with an atomic bomb. Because this world lacks the infrastructure to make such technology possible. The war ends using the old, familiar methods. And the world takes on a different shape. A century later, the world is as familiar as it is foreign. The mechanical computers invented by Charles Babbage become the most fundamental technology of this world. Gigantic gear-driven machines fill entire rooms. Data is processed using metal and motion. Through pneumatic tubes in cities, messages are transmitted rapidly through the pipes. Medical science is advancing only slowly. Surgeries are difficult. Infant mortality rates are high. Life expectancy is much shorter. The world can move only within certain limits. And the most palpable thing is silence. The silence of a world that has never been able to achieve real-time communication. The realities of this world are more complex. Hospitals are darker. Winters are much harsher. The distances between people are greater. And ideas move very slowly. Edison flipped the switch and the lights came on. But this wasn't just a theoretical success. It was a milestone. A point of no return. The real question is, did electricity make us powerful? Yes. But have we truly understood the true meaning of the civilization we've built upon it? Because one day, that light might go out. And what we'll do then has yet to be written.